and welcome to Medical Mama So the Drama, episode 2. So first of all, I'm gonna say I am sitting outside. So you might hear some birds tweeting, you might hear the train come by, you might hear some cars. But this is just authentically where I'm at, and this is where I decided to record the podcast today. That's number one. Number two, I was gonna make this episode about like Naomi. So the thing is, I be trying to be a structured type of person, but I am not structured. Like I am just authentically a person that just goes off of the dome. Even with me having notes, I still be like, I can't read these notes. I just go off of whatever flows. So today my spirit is leading me to have the conversation about this last hospital stay Naomi had. So, because I'm not telling y'all like her whole heart defect story or whatever, how her whole journey to get home, modified version, she had 3 heart surgeries. She had one, at this point she's had 2 abdomen surgeries, but before this hospital said she had 1 abdomen surgery. So a total of 4 surgeries, all before she turned 1. I don't know if I just said this, but 2 of the heart surgeries was open heart. The other one was a thoracotomy, but still very serious because it's still with the heart. So yeah. Maybe at the end of this episode or maybe the next episode, I'll talk about her whole story. But the abdomen surgery she ended up having was because she had some strictures. She had some strictures in her bowel, but they didn't know exactly what it was. So they went in for essentially an X-lap just to see what was going on. And she ended up having to get and she ended up with an ileostomy. So she had an ostomy bag and a mucus fistula, and they took out part of her colon. So, and they took out her appendix. So that's just that on that part. So this surgery was to reverse her ileostomy, and to get her a G-tube. Because let me tell y'all something, sticking that NG, that nasogastric tube down her nose, really was stressing me out. So I'm very glad that we just got the G-tube. Like, ooh. Anyway, but the ostomy, I'm really glad to get rid of that too, because she had it since she was 4 months old. So she kind of really don't know nothing else, but also the stress of changing that thing was really getting to me. So she had surgery for that. So the point of this episode, I guess, is just to talk about this hospital stay, but also I'm just talking about expectations too. So because of, I know Naomi has been through so much, my expectations for her when she gets in the hospital to leave immediately or just have a turnaround are very low, because she has never been just an easy turnaround type of baby. So if she ends up in the hospital, then that means that it's something that she really needs. Obviously she had surgery, so she was going to end up in the hospital anyway. But anytime she has had a surgery, it's a setback. Period. It's always a setback for her. And it takes her a minute to recover, as with anybody, but especially for her. So when I went into this surgery, I was already like, I don't know how long she's gonna be here. I gave it 2 weeks at the least. Yeah. I gave it 2 weeks at the least. So every time my child is in the hospital, she picks up some type of virus. Most of the time it's rhinovirus. If you know Naomi, you know. If she's sick, it's probably rhino. So yeah, this time the surgery went good. Like, her surgeon is a really good surgeon. And I'm gonna say this, about the general surgeons at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Arthur Blank. I'm pretty sure they probably like this at all the campuses, but you guys are amazing surgeons. You do your job in the OR. You guys have zero bedside manner. It is ridiculous. The amount of times you have to beg them to come to the bedside, and when they do come to the bedside to do rounds, it's at 5:30 in the morning when nobody is around. They shuffle in, shuffle out real quick. Talk about stealth. They got it. Okay? But if there's a thing that I can say y'all need to work on, it's communicating with parents and letting them know what the heck is going on. It's listening to parents' concerns. It's checking in with the parents and not just checking in on the patient, because at the end of the day, me, the mama, my baby is here at the hospital, but I'm the one that's going to have to take her home and take care of her. So you need to communicate with me what is going on. And maybe I am spoiled because cardiology at Children's is phenomenal with listening to parents, listening to you advocate. They will piss you off. I'm not saying that. It don't matter where you're at in the hospital, you're going to get pissed off about something. But cardiology is amazing with taking the parent into consideration. I have no idea. I don't know. Surgery just doesn't seem to work as a cohesive group. Cardiology works as a cohesive group. And even if they don't know your child, they done heard about your child. So, but yeah, general surgery. I can write a book about how terrible this experience has been with them. So anyway, her surgeon did amazing in the OR. Surgery went fine. She came back. Did y'all know that little kids can be on epidurals? Yeah, found that out this time. So she had a epidural during surgery, and they kept her on the epidural after surgery. So she came back to the room on it, and you can stay on that for 5 days. Crazy, right? Just found this stuff out. So let me say this, moms, dads, if you don't know, when your child comes out of surgery and they give them Tylenol, IV Tylenol, please stay up on it, because the IV Tylenol will fall off of their chart after a certain amount of doses or a certain amount of time, because that way back in the day, this doctor explained it to me, way back in the day, IV Tylenol was very expensive. And so the only time that they would allow a child to have it is if they absolutely needed it. And there was a lot of paperwork and all of this stuff involved in it. So once they got it, after a certain amount of time, it would fall off of the chart and they couldn't get it anymore, or they would have to request it again. So now IV Tylenol is not so expensive because they are able to make generic brands and things like that, but they haven't changed that rule, so it falls off of the chart. Parents, saying that to say, stay up on it. Make sure, I just bumped my elbow. Make sure that they are keeping up and keeping that IV Tylenol in the chart if it's still time for them to have IV Tylenol. If we can get to a point where they can just take it by mouth or whatever the case, then you can go to that and you don't have to it won't fall off of the chart until the doctors take it off. But if they're getting IV Tylenol, stay up on that. So, saying that also to say, I didn't know that IV Tylenol fell off of the chart. So, over the weekend, Naomi had surgery on a Friday. So, she got her last dose of Tylenol on a Saturday afternoon. And I didn't realize that it fell off. So, she wasn't getting any Tylenol. Ideally, you would think maybe the nurse would be like, hey, the IV Tylenol, she needs this, whatever. But she also had a pain management team, and they were kind of lackadaisical about coming by, but they were like, we can add, instead of adding the IV Tylenol back, they were like, we can add Dilaudid. as like a PRN. PRN means just in case dose, or as needed. Let me say as needed, not just in case, but kind of the same difference. So, but I in my mind, I'm thinking, of course, the IV Tylenol is still on her chart. She's still getting that plus. That's what I'm thinking. I ain't asked because I'm just automatically thinking, why would they take IV Tylenol off? So she just was not, like, she was in a lot of pain, y'all. And I'm like, what is going on with my child? Like, I really need for y'all to figure it out. I really need for y'all to figure it out. Yeah, period. What is going on? Like, she's in a lot of pain. And so they ended up adding like another PRN. I want to say PRN morphine. And I asked her, like, she was in pain like all night Sunday, and I'm asking her nurse, like, did she get that Tylenol still? And she was like, no, it fell off. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean it fell off? She's like, yeah, it fell off and nobody asked for it again. And I was like, okay, well, I would like that to be put back on. Like, let's get that under control. And because Naomi went in for a general surgery procedure, she was on the general surgery service. However, general surgery in the hospital does not have a home. She is a cardiac baby, so anytime a cardiac baby has surgery, they will probably go to the cardiac unit after their surgery, but will be followed by the general surgery team. I would just prefer that my child get their surgery and come back and be under cardiology service. I don't know who I need to advocate that to, but babe, don't ever put my child on that fucking service again. Excuse my French. Don't ever put my... Because they don't know what to do with cardiology babies. So, anyway... Then also the night... They didn't get post-op labs. So, I'm used to that with cardiology. They get post-op labs. Period. It does not matter. General surgery doesn't do that. And the way the cardiology doctor explained it to me was basically they don't deal with kids that are so high risk like cardiac babies, so their immediate response is not post-op labs. But I just don't understand that. Like, in all of my medical history, medical show, education, they be getting in post-op labs because we need to know the CBC, all of that stuff. We need to know what your electrolytes looking like, all of this, your kidney function. We need to know all of that after surgery. Like, I feel like that should be standard, period. What do you guys think? Okay. So, Sunday, she was just in a lot of pain. We get the Tylenol back on or whatever. And that really pissed me off. Like, and I hadn't seen the general surgeons at all. So she had surgery on Friday. I hadn't seen them. I called the patient rep. Like, yeah, I understand that this falls in. Let me tell y'all something. Call that damn patient rep. Call patient rep. Call family experience. Call all of them people. They ain't there for kicks and funny. No, they there because these people need to do their jobs. You're not playing. This is my child's life. This is my child's life. You're not playing with a doll. This is not a fucking simulation. This is my child's life. So if I don't feel like I'm being heard, if I don't feel like what was happening was fair, I'm going to talk to these people and y'all gonna get your act together. Period. Dot. Same. Okay. So, yeah, I called the patient rep and I said, I understand that, the IV Tylenol falls off of the chart. I didn't understand that. I wasn't communicated that. And I have a problem with that, because it's not for me to be reminding y'all to do that. Y'all should be knowing that it fell off and understand that she needs some pain medicine, and why she was offered Dilaudid and morphine before y'all thought about putting back on the IV Tylenol or even some ibuprofen. I'm confused. Yeah. So how many doctors came to the bedside that day? Like 3 times. 3 doctors. 3 doctors came to the general surgery, and I had not seen even the one that the one that did her surgery came to the bedside, because usually they just have somebody on their service, or like the fellow or whatever come to the bedside, or the nurse practitioner or whatever. But see, that's another thing. Cardiology don't do that. When I tell you I know my daughter's cardiologist, I know that man by first name. Shout out to Josh, okay? I know that man first name. I know my daughter's primary cardiologist in the hospital first name. I know the doctors in the heart center first name. So, yeah, I'm just not used to it. Maybe I'm just spoiled. Okay, but what does that say about the heart center? Okay. Anyway, so then all night, Sunday night into Monday morning, Naomi was just like out of it. Not really good. Like the whole weekend she was just out of it. And I'm thinking, oh, it's because she been in all this pain. And then Monday morning they woke me up and said, Mom, because they were trying to get her another IV in. They said, Mom, we got her labs back and her sodium is very high. If we do these labs again and they come back very high, we're going to have to take her to the ICU. And in that moment, I said, they're going to take her to the ICU. I knew she was going to the ICU. And then they was trying to, oh man, the mosquito just bit me. And then they was just trying to take her to like the PICU. Very quickly, they got that changed, because I was going to be like, we're not going to the PICU. She's cardiac. She needs to be going to cardiology. I don't understand that. She needs to be going to the ICU. And the doctors in the ICU, they don't play about Naomi, so I don't understand what was the problem. I don't understand what the step-down unit was having going on, but babe, no. Naomi's the first one they gonna take back. Like, please. So, if something is going on with that girl in the step-down, they gonna take her back immediately, because they know. So I'm like, they're gonna take her to the ICU. They didn't even end up getting the blood to draw the labs, because they couldn't even stick her again. So they're like, Mom, we're just gonna go to the ICU. Understand? I already knew this. So we go right down to the ICU, and let me tell you something. Naomi spent, this is a part of the backstory. Naomi spent 414 days in the hospital total. 97% of that time, 98% of that time was in the ICU, in the cardiac ICU. She transferred hospitals from Eggleston to the Arthur Blank Hospital. She transferred. Like, she spent all of those days in the ICU. So I'm very familiar with the people down there. They are really like family. So when we get down there, I feel like I can breathe. Another thing, in the step-down unit, yes, you are expected to do a lot more, because most times you're there as mom, dad, whatever. Some parents still can't be there. Be very clear that. And I want y'all to understand it. I'm pretty sure I said that in the first episode. Some parents literally can't be there. And people judge, but there is a lot of things going on for people who have medically complex children, and especially if they have more than one child. There's a lot of things. It's a lot of things to juggle. So please shut your fucking mouth. If you see a parent that's not always there with their medically complex child, shut up. Don't talk about nothing you don't know nothing about. Okay. Anyway, when she gets to the ICU, I just feel like, okay, I can breathe because I know these people are going to take care of her. Because in the step down unit, in the CACU where Naomi was, you're expected to do more because you're there more. Some people, like I said, can't be there, but you're expected to do more. And with that expectation, like, you spend a lot of more time up in the middle of the night trying to do stuff, but they come in bothering your kid. My kid sleeps through the night, all night, at home. I don't wake her up. We don't be changing diapers. Let me check her vitals. We're not doing all of that at home. We're asleep. We're all sleeping. So you come in there doing all of that, and you wake my baby up. Now you leave the room. Now I gotta put her back to sleep. Fucking chaos. You do not get a lot of fucking sleep in the fucking step down. In the ICU, because also I'm able to let my guard down, I can freaking sleep because them nurses, they don't sit down most of the shift. They is in that room. At nighttime, when that baby go to sleep, they let that baby sleep and they come in and maybe change a diaper. They do still have to do vitals, but they don't wake your kid up like they do in the step down, okay? Baby sleep peacefully. And even if your kid do wake up, they don't expect you to wake up to take care of put your kid back to sleep or do any of that. Most of the time in the ICU, they are 1-to-1, so they got time to sit there and pat your baby back to sleep. They got time to do all of that. So, yeah, we go to the ICU. When she leaves from the step-down unit, her last sodium check was 169. When she gets to the ICU, it's 173. The average range is like between 135 and 144 or 143, something like that. I done looked at them labs so many times. This is all off the dome. I'm not looking at nothing now. I done looked at them so many times before now that I know what that average is for that sodium, because that's where I was like, this is our goal, what we trying to get back down to. Yeah, so you do the maths. Her stuff was high. And all of the nurses in the CI were like, is she okay? Girl. Neurologically. And I was like, she seems to be, but she been like really out of it all weekend, kind of. Yeah. Did I say already that they had started her diuretics back immediately after surgery? So, a thing that you have to know about cardiac babies, and if you also know Naomi's history, she is very diuretic dependent. She needs her diuretic, but also she's very diuretic sensitive. And so any little thing can tip her over the edge and send her any which way. Mind you, I believe there was something already brewing, infection wise, but that's hindsight. We'll get there. We'll get back to that. But yeah, so they had to, when she got to the ICU, the doctor, Sadie, who actually is the reason why I started this podcast, she was like, let's just do labs on everything for the hell of it. So that's how we found out about the high sodium. Oh, and her hemoglobin was low. Okay, I had to take a second and go to the bathroom. But so yes, her hemoglobin was very low. Her hematocrit was very low. So she ended up needing to be transfused. And she was just in a bad spot, y'all. She was just in a bad spot. So I was just trying not to worry and just be peace of mind, because I knew that I was in a place where people who take care of her, who have taken care of her for so long, I knew that they were going to make sure that everything was right. So push come to shove, they do fluids and all types of things, just working slowly basically to get her sodium and her other electrolytes back to where they need it to be. If they did it too fast, it could cause issues with her heart. So they wanted to make sure they did it slow and in an appropriate way that would be good for her. So the next day, which would have been Tuesday, her belly just started looking big, and I just kept saying, this is going back to general surgery. I just kept telling the cardiology, like, hey, something is not right. Look at her belly. And they kept, general surgery did come, and they would be like, oh, this is fine. It's probably just big because she's constipated, whatever. And I'm like, okay. They're like, it's fine. We can just feed her. She'll be okay. And I'm like, no, something is not right. So, she did end up pooping, and it looked like her belly kind of like went down. But then like the next day, over the next few days, it just got worse and worse and worse, and her belly was just big. And I'm like, something is wrong. So I'm in her room. That had to be Thursday or Friday. And I'm like, oh, her nurse had just went to lunch, whatever. I'm like, oh, let me check your diaper, make sure you didn't poop. Because I was trying to make sure I was keeping up with the diaper changes, because she hasn't had poop on her butt. I don't know if that was clear with the ostomy bag. So the ostomy is basically, when the ileostomy is basically taking her bottom and putting it on her, sewing it to her stomach. So when she does poop, when she was pooping, it was going into the bag. But now, since they did the reversal, it's coming out the other way. But she hasn't pooped on her bottom since she was like 4 months old. So she don't remember what that feeling feels like. And now it's so funny to see her reaction when the poop be on her bottom. She be like, she be squirming around. It's funny. Anyway, so yeah, what happened? I was in her room, and I'm like, oh, let me change her diaper. And she had pooped. And so I was like, I went to reach over her, and I saw her lipids was open. So she was on TPN and lipids. And that's basically nutritions to help when she not being fed. So the lipids was not connected. It was dripping. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, whatever. Free speech here. What the fuck is going on? Like, why is this leaking? And then I look, and the incision site where they close up her ostomy is leaking too. And I'm like, what is going on? And the diaper was a blowout on top of that. So here I am, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I say like a lot, but anyway, I'm just like, what am I gonna do? This is a lot. And so just so happened the nurse that was next door came by, and she was like, are you okay? I'm like, no, absolutely not. The lipids came apart. She has a blowout diaper, and this incision site is leaking. Like, what is going on? So, and when I say the incision is leaking, it is leaking out. Like, I'm using gauze and cleaning it up, and it's just leaking more and more out. I'm like, yeah, this is bad. Something is not right. Y'all, when I say, it was like the skin was raised a little bit. But when I say that was not there in that morning, and maybe it was forming under her skin, and it had just came to a head, but it was not there that morning. The nurses do an assessment, every morning when they come in, and I know it was not there because I had already looked at her. It was not there. So that thing formed fast. Or going back to what I said before about an infection, I suspect that maybe it started brewing back when the sodium issue happened, and then we got to here. So yeah, she the nurse helps me. She clean up, do the lipids, screw that all back together, whatever. We clean up her diaper, and then she takes pictures. We try to put like some gauze on top of the leaking site, and she said she contacts general surgery and is like, hey, y'all need to come down here and check this out. Something is not right. It is leaking. So about 30-45 minutes pass, and the general surgeon comes down, and she's like, okay, I just had to look at. She comes and looks at it, and she sees that it is leaking or whatever, and she's like, okay, I have to go help and take a patient off of ECMO, but I'll be back. And I say, okay, I don't know how long it takes to take a patient off of ECMO, but she was gone for a long time. It had to be like 2-3 hours. And when she came back, she was like, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah. That took longer than what I expected. So she gets them Q-tips, and she starts pressing at the incision site. Now, this is hurting Naomi. They had to, and when she comes back, they are like in the midst of shift change for the doctors, so they were doing report. So Sadie was going off. She was done for her week, and another doctor, Allah, was coming on. They both were in the room when the general surgeon fellow was in there pushing the stuff out. So they gave Naomi some pain medicine, because when I say that was a lot of stuff, and I know that hurt, she was pushing a lot out. So then Sadie says, hey, she'll need antibiotics, right? And they were like, we wouldn't start any. Red flag. And so Sadie and Allah look at each other. And in my mind, I'm like, no, we need to start these antibiotics. I don't care about that. So then, but I could tell, like, Sadie was trying to be respectful, not step on their toes, but she was just like, well, if we did decide to start any, what would it be? And then they told her what kind or whatever, and she's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. But it was a lot. It was just, so everybody ended up leaving. They covered Naomi up and cleaned her up and stuff like that. So when they come back from rounds that night, I tell them, well, Allah starts talking about Naomi's infection or whatever. We don't know if anything has happened. And they were talking about reaching out to general surgery to ask questions. And she was like, she told her fellow, like, reach out to general surgery and ask them about antibiotics. And which ones would they start them? I said I was going to talk about that in rounds. Let's not talk to them about anything. Let's just start. Let's just start because she's going to need them. I don't know. We don't know how long this has been brewing. So let's just start them. So all of the doctors, the nurse practitioners, the fellows, everybody is like, yeah, mom. Yeah, because at this point, I'm no nonsense. So what I learned is this time around, the Sharice I was when Naomi was initially in the hospital, the first time, it's not the same Sharice. So I am not tolerating anybody's shit, period. So they're like, oh yeah, we're absolutely loving this. I'm like, yeah, no, we're not gonna do this. Let's just start the antibiotics just to be on the safe side. And Allah ended up choosing a very heavy hitter, Zosyn antibiotic, because it's a freaking surgery infection with her belly. Like that, anything could happen. So yeah, let's just be precautious. And because of Naomi, who Naomi is, when y'all hear Naomi's whole story, you'll be like, yeah, I can see. You'll come back to this and be like, yeah, that's why they needed to start this on, because any little thing my child loves to, she loves to pick up. Like, she loves to get sick. Any little setback, if you can think of a setback, Naomi will do it. Like, you can't say like, oh, you going home this day or blah 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 blah. You can't do any of that around her, because she gonna be like, oh, I heard her home. Yeah, I'm not going. I'm gonna actually stay here a little longer. So yeah. So we decided to start the antibiotics. They did blood cultures, they did labs, just to make sure everything was okay. Her inflammatory markers look right. And so it took about 2 days or so, but she started to kind of get back to herself, started to wake up and be a little bit more active. And she was really in the CI for like almost a week, like 5 days. Just trying to get better and get her sodiums and things back together. So, she got to hang out with her most favorite people in the world that she don't even know is her favorite people, because they took care of her in there. And when I say bend to her every whim, child, they will do it. Anything Naomi needs. It's so funny. I'm like, this is her problem. This is why she's spoiled, because y'all treat her like a queen. And then when I say that, they be like, she is a queen. Lord. Anyway, so they moved her to the step-down unit the other day. Y'all, I don't know what day it was. I'm gonna be honest. My days are running together. So the other day, they moved her to the step-down, the CACU, CACU. That's the CACU, Cardiac Acute Care Unit. So yeah, she's been in the CACU all weekend. She had to go to the CACU maybe Friday. I don't remember the day. Again, like I said, days running together. So she's just been there getting better. I was hoping she was going to be able to come home earlier this week, because she had an appointment to get a wheelchair evaluation so she can have like a PT wheelchair, one that fits her size and holds her head up and like, leans her back, works just easier for us to push her around. She can be in a regular stroller, but like as far as her physical therapy needs and her occupational therapy needs, it'll be helpful. But she was supposed to have that appointment today, actually, Tuesday. What is today? Tuesday the 3rd. Yeah, she was supposed to have this appointment today. And she ended up not having it. So, because she's still in the hospital, so I had to reschedule, y'all. And the reason I wanted her to keep her appointment, I wanted her to be discharged, because I've had an appointment scheduled since January, and the earliest thing they had was June. So when I tried to reschedule this, when I did reschedule, that earliest they had was August. So here we are. But the woes of physical therapy, occupational therapy, all of that stuff, there's going to be a whole episode on that, because why you call Babies Can't Wait for your county and they say, oh yeah, we'd love to help you, but in your county we don't come to the house, we only do virtual. well, how am I going to do virtual physical therapy with my child? I might as well just watch a YouTube video. No thanks. I don't want that. Because Naomi was in the hospital so long, they offer it, and she can go to the rehab facilities that CHOA provides, like across the street from the CHOA campus. So that's what we have been doing. But she's missed many appointments being in the hospital. So hopefully, insurance will cover her some extra appointments because she had a hospital stay. Yeah. But I'm just hopeful that she will be home this week. She got fit for some leg braces. Because when she stand up, her knees are a little not neat. But they are fitting her for some leg braces. And so she's gonna wear those to help her learn how to stand up better, and she loves to stand. So that'll be really good for her therapies too. But they were able to fit her for those in the hospital. She gotta go to Scottish Rite to get the wheelchair evaluation. They can't do that while she's in the hospital, which sucks. So we just move forward and work on that. But anyway, this was episode 2. I just wanted to tell y'all about this hospital experience, because I just felt like it was on my heart. Like, I did want to talk about Naomi's story, and that's coming. I hope y'all actually enjoyed this double drop, because the first episode really was just intro to, okay, this is whatever we're going to be talking about. And it was only 10 minutes, but I wanted to talk to y'all about something that's really happening right now. Naomi's story is going to be interesting, and we all going to hear it soon. But I wanted to just dive into actually what is going on in my daily life right now. What I'm really struggling with is being apart from all three. Well, having to be apart from my kids. I'm with Noel and Nicholas right now, but being apart from Naomi is not easy. And I just love when they all together. Like, when the 3 of them are together, they are all just happy. I'm happy. We are just a happy unit. And it's less time that we are separated. It's things that I gotta get done at home. We just get to be home. And the struggle of having to balance home and balance being present at the hospital and knowing what's going on is crazy. And I truly don't know where I would be without my God. Like, because the amount of things that I believe is super heavy. He like, girl, no worries, I got you. Because as they say, God doesn't give you anything that you can't bear, but that's a lie. He gives you more than you can bear so you can depend on him. And when I've been leaning on him. Just a tidbit to lead us into the episode about Naomi. Next week, I wanted to bring up my faith. So I had been asking God the year prior to me getting pregnant with Naomi and all of the things. I had been asking him for big faith. My cousin Ashley, her faith in God is something to be envied. Like, she don't worry about nothing. She just be like, well, I ain't gonna say she don't worry, because she do worry, but she just be like, I'm not gonna stress, God got it. And I used to tell her, girl, I wish my faith was like yours. I want big faith like you. I want big faith like you. God, I want big faith like Ashley. I used to ask him for it. I used to talk about it all the time. And so then God said, you're gonna get that big faith. If you wanna stand the test, I'm gonna make you get that big faith. So he gave me my daughter. He gave me this journey. And in this journey, I have had to depend on him. I have held more than I can bear, but I have had to depend on him. And me depending on him has made me look and say, yeah, I got the big faith that I've been asking for, because he's providing everything that I ever asked for, ever needed, ever wanted. On days when I just don't know what is going on, what I'm going to do, what's next, God has provided. So tune in next time to talk about God providing and the faith that he gave me and the journey of Naomi. Because when I tell you it's worth the listen, it's worth the listen. Thank you guys. I thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching, because it's nothing to watch. It's just little clips of the logo and things. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking out your 45-50 minutes to give me a try. I hope you stick around for the rest of the journey. This was episode 2. We'll see you next time on Medical Mama Soda Drama. Thanks for listening and watching. I can't wait to keep venting and oversharing with you guys. Be sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We'll see you next week. Medical Mama signing out.